Okay, live in Russia under the Putin. We've heard so much about this man. Some call him the dare, the fearless one, the one that have taken Russia from the brink to what the world would call a country to be respected right now, because according to him, trying to protect Russia territorial integrity from external aggression, he launched an offensive against Ukraine. And we are hearing right now of the fact that the former opposition leader, Alexei, kicked the bucket, having taken a straw in the prison he was kept in. According to them, he just slumped, and that was it. Let me start off with Reverend Humphrey Riga. Russia under Putin, are they doing well as a country? Let's start from there.
It depends on the angle you're looking at it and based on our individual opinions. If you are looking at it from a democratic system, no. But if you are looking at it from an authoritarian system, yes. Because each and every individual has a principle or a rule. But when I'm looking at it from the humanitarian perspective, I wouldn't believe that he is, because once you cannot allow people to express their thoughts and the right to make a choice of who leads them, then of course we have a problem. We also know that today's Russia is not as buoyant, neither is it even as buoyant as on a war perspective, because over the period we've been hearing of their relationship with Iran, supplying drones and all. Those days you don't hear of anybody supplying anything to Russia. But today they are short of a lot of things, and some of those things. When you come in from the position of human rights, of course, it's a zero environment. We're just talking of the one who died recently. We're told that he was kept in the most notorious prison. Nobody survives in those environments. And the young man who has survived an assassination attempt before, so he's been on the red light of the Putin, who sees him as a thorn in the flesh. And when you see the circumstances around, they're not allowing anybody. They have not allowed the mother to see the corpse. They have not allowed anybody. And so you are keeping the body for 2 weeks, which means you want to make sure that every element that will determine what exactly happens is eroded before you can talk about, you can take your corpse and all. But we also know that it's not the first time, it's not the first person. And so long as Putin lives, it's not going to be the last person. You know, but I find some courage in the words of the wife, who says they are going to carry on the struggle. They know the situation around. But I just hope that those who have minds, there are people in Russia who would like to speak. But unfortunately, fear is the biggest problem of man. You know, and once that fear is cultivated in the man, that's what tyrants do. They use fear as a measure of curtailment for the citizens who they rule, so that nobody can interfere. But I think and I believe that it's still a very messy situation as far as Russia is concerned with Putin.
And he said it's still a very messy situation as far as Putin is the one leading the Russians. Barrister A.B. Thomas, do you share his sentiments in this particular discussion?
I certainly share his views 100%, except to add a little bit of things. A system, any system that prepares the state for despotism should not expect human rights to be respected. Any system that creates an Iron Man, when I say an Iron Man, one single person behaving as if he's the god of the country, should expect what we are seeing in Russia. The Soviet era created that system whereby everybody is a suspect except the ruler himself. And today, we have Russia carved out of the old Soviet Union in 1991, and we have seen that since 1991, Putin and his protege have been rotating themselves between president and prime minister. No other person dare attempt to contest. Now, if you look at the Russia of today, they ought to have been as developed, not only in terms of technology, but in terms of human development, like America, like Germany. But instead, 3/4 of the revenue of Russia goes into either armament or corruption. One single man stays, he dictates what will happen. His children are outside Russia, being guarded by KGB officials in luxurious apartments. And if you must do well as a Russian, you must be 100% loyal to Putin. Putin and the system does not brook opposition. So if in 2020 Alexis was poisoned and it took the Germans to resuscitate him, he was poisoned not by Western agents. He was poisoned because of his opposition to Putin. Therefore, it is easy to say that it was Putin's agents that poisoned him. He survived it. Earlier, there was another Russian opposition leader who was poisoned in London. The British had to struggle to make sure the man survived. Now, recently, Prognosi, the leader of Wagner, tested Putin's despotism by rebelling against what we might say is the military leadership of Russia. Whereas rebelling against military leadership of Russia is the same thing as rebelling against Putin himself. He took his troops almost entering Moscow. But the Belarusian president said, "Oh, I've settled Putin and Prognosi." And what happened? Prognosi died in an orchestrated plane crash. Putin does not forgive. He is the opposite of God. He doesn't forgive. He does not know, he does not tolerate anything like opposition. So in such a situation, development is limited to his own vision.
All right. Now you give various examples to show that Putin is a man to reckon with, both from the negative dimension. Well, while I was talking about this topic, you whispered something into my ears. You said controversial circumstances. so it was controversial that this man died, and you are towing line with what the West is expecting, that Putin do have a hand in his death. Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes.
Because they are saying the man just fell, and they are conducting an autopsy to get to find out what made the man die. He waited for a walk. All of a sudden, he's not feeling that good. He slumped. They called the emergency doctors to come resuscitate him. They did all they could, but still, that was the end of Alexei.
Yes, you're right when I told you it wasn't controversial in any way. Draw inspirations from what we have been told now. Very solid foundations have been laid, and that goes to justify that it wasn't controversial. Those persons that came in form of rescue team, coming in an ambulance, they came after he died. So their coming was of no consequence, maybe just to take him to the morgue and all that. They didn't try resuscitating him. The condition they are claiming is the SDS, sudden death syndrome. And sudden death syndrome has to do with the heart. And what it was poisoned with as a mechanism of affecting the heart.
They never said it was poisoned.
It was poisoned.
No, I like what you're saying.
They never said it
So
was poisoned.
that it fell. Of course you fall. By the time there's a cardiac arrest, it should fall. Because the word is that it's slumped. Somebody fall is reference, somebody slumping. So it slumped and it died. So you cannot blame the death on Alexei that he slumped. Something led to that. So the circumstances that led to his incarceration were all politically motivated. There is no government, there is no place in this world where you cannot find an opposition as human beings. Even your own home, your wife may not accept all the things you're saying, even your children may not accept. But the home can still be peaceful. There must be some bits of checks and balances. So if the Alexei that decided, and the wife is also agreeing with him, even his death, that the wife says she wants to carry on from where the husband stopped, then why won't you allow that? So it wasn't controversial, to the point that the mother wanted to see the dead body, and you are saying no. That further shows the fact that it was poisoned, because within these 14 days, whatever chemical that was injected in him would have vanished away. So no matter the level of autopsy, no matter how in depth you go into it, you observe that there will be no known cause of the death. But if the body is released now, as it's still fresh, whatever thing that killed Alexei would have been so made manifest for all to see. So that still shows that Putin has a hand in the death of the man.
All right. Now, U.S. issued a statement. I'll come to a very statement once. U.S. issued a statement saying that it condemned the death of Alexei, and they didn't hide their feelings about pointing accusing finger at Putin and, of course, Russia. But some are saying no sacrifice is too great for maintaining the peace, tranquility, and oneness of one's country. As some are saying that's the path chosen by Putin. What do you have to say about this? Reverend, no, let Reverend come in from this angle. I'll come to you, Marisa, please. Let's take it in turns.
You see, every individual has a way of trying to justify their actions. If you say for the peace and stability of the country, at what cost? Who determines the road to peace? The people or you as an individual determines what is good for everybody. To his father, America definitely will condemn. But see, all these condemnations have no effect, because each of these countries, especially the despots, are not concerned about what you say. The point is they want to eliminate everyone that stands as opposition to them. Everyone that will make them look exactly who they are before the people. Because most of the time, some of these despots mask themselves in a manner that the citizens don't even know who their president is, who their leader is. Is it the death of your citizens that creates the goodness of your governance? Or the living being in your country in the manner that they have self-dignity and are able to fulfill their self-living acts? Leadership is not a matter of imposition, it's a matter of choice of the people. Why, if you think that the people need a stabilized government, why don't you allow them to determine what kind of government they want? Why don't you allow them to determine the kind of leadership that they want? That not just those living in the country, even those living outside, are being pursued and poisoned to death because they don't want anyone who has anything to say about the government and the leadership to survive. So you see the kind of, we're talking of act of wickedness. You're talking of the fact that they call doctors. Which doctors? Government appointed doctors to go and rescue a man that is a thorn in his flesh. Even if they go there,
They will inject him.
they will inject him to die for that.
But they never said they injected him.
Yeah,
They
they
won't say so.
No, you see, there's no,
He was there before they came, before the medical team came.
You see,
He was already
let
dead.
us even if you allow me, let's delve into a little bit of what happened even in Nigeria. We have had some situations like that, where leaders, two of them now in the scenario, were given either tea or something because because they must die. So when you're talking about, like you said, they brought the ambulance so that they can take him away from the morgue. The issue is they never intended him to live. He is in the most, they call it the worst prison environment in Russia, where survival rate is 0. So what are you talking about? He's not allowed to eat the food he wants to eat. Sometimes he goes on hunger strike because he doesn't know the food he's going to eat. He's not allowed to visit for people to discuss with anybody. You see, the worst death you can give to anybody is isolation, when he cannot see the sun. He can't talk to anybody. But yet, the man has survived a lot of things. So, when he's now dying, you say you are sending a doctor to go and resuscitate him. No, it's to make sure that he doesn't live.
Okay, Barrister, your turn right now, because there was no account given that he ate anything or drank anything. He just took a stroll.
We see, I like your own perspective to things. But first of all, I like the semantics of my brother here. When he said the death was not controversial. Why would we say, oh, it was controversial? The real thing is this. By saying it's not controversial, he was being definitive that the man was killed.
Obviously.
He was murdered, state murder, government killing, as fella would call it. Government killing, unjustifiable killing. Now, looking at your own aspect of the question, that is it bad if you have to eliminate one person to give the country a resemblance of peace? You are taking us back to animal kingdom. To animal kingdom. If any man, no matter how intelligent his opinion may look like, but because his opinion is in opposition to the person who calls himself a leader, that person must be eliminated. Then we are now in the animal kingdom where the strongest survives. And that is one of the charters of the United Nations, of the UNO, to eradicate animalistic conduct among the nations of the world. That is why when there is genocide or any conflict in any country that seems not to be in accordance with civilized conduct, the UN is always out to condemn it. If you go to United States of America for example, today, any state you visit, they will tell you that Trump is likely to beat the incumbent president, hands down. Then if we follow your own analogy, we should kill Trump.
I just asked a question. I said, Putin said, Russia said this is what they did, that will protect their own territorial integrity.
Because
no man is greater than the state. Don't forget the reason why they went to war with Ukraine.
Wait, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
To maintain the territorial integrity of America is not for anybody like Trump to become president. So if you want to maintain the territorial integrity of America, you need a sane man, a man who is a gentleman, not a man who will begin to look for fake votes to overturn an election.
These are allegations against Trump.
And encourage violence in the Capitol Hill. Don't, even if you do it in Nigeria, your National Assembly here, it will be wrong, it will be treason. It will be treason. But that is the man they say is leading in their polls. That is democracy.
All right.
That is democracy. So we must look at it this way. It is either we have government or we don't have government. And if we decide to have a governmental system, then the governmental system must be the type that is determined by the people, for the people, and by the people.
All right, now let's go down memory lane. Since we're going down memory lane, you get to realize that before Alexei was arrested, he was behind an upheaval in Russia that almost affected the Kremlin. And they accused him of being a spy for the West vis-a-vis America. You got to see the amount of protests that almost crippled the economy, the wherewithal of the Kremlin, because of this same man. Hence, he was sent to court, found guilty, and sentenced to jail. If we put this into perspective, do you see another person taking the shoes or wearing the shoes of Alexei to challenge Putin in his country, Russia?
Yeah, why not? The espionage suspicion they had over Alexei Navalny was politically motivated. They really hated him. The Putin really hated him. It's not that when you hate someone, anything the person does will not be of any interest to you. You frown at it, no matter how funny the thing might sound or look, you won't see it in that light. So the kangaroo court that was instituted, they came up with judgment as put together by Putin. What would have expected? So what he did under a normal circumstance shouldn't have led him being incarcerated into the most, let's say, dangerous, inhuman prison in Russia. What did he do? Those was mere allegations. And because the man was, Alexei was always opposing what Putin was always saying. Because if you look closely at what Alexei was saying, was that you were always contravening things against, were always against human rights abuses here and there. So that was the standpoint of Alexei Navalny. And Putin wasn't happy about it.
So we'll take a look at Russia under Putin's special focus on the death of Alexei Navalny. And you're making a very valid point for Wench on that break. Please continue with the points you're given.
Yes, if as they made that evil judgment to imprison Alexei Navalny, Putin still wasn't satisfied because the jail term was stipulated. And the discomfort Putin had that if you wait for Navalny to complete this jail term, it will do more harm than good. So the easiest thing is to use a chemical weapon on him. There's only a chemical weapon used on him. That if it touches his skin, after a short while, the person will have no choice than to slump and pass on. So, and he would have noticed that Navalny was more of a threat inside the jail than he was outside. So the best thing they could do was what he just did some days ago, to have him eliminated. So as Reverend positioned just now, the medical team didn't go there to attend to him by way of treatment.
But we're not there.
No, the reports are there. The reports are there.
They put him in the prison. Okay. They were trying to resuscitate him. He did not respond, and that was the end of Alexei.
Listen, if you give a report on ITV,
yes.
Am I wrong to follow your report?
Yes. So in following the report, the ambulance came after he died. That's the report given. It's everywhere. So why would they invite the ambulance to come?
Good question. Now let's take a look at what the widow talked about, the widow of Alexei. She said that she's going to continue with the struggle. She's going to continue with the fight. She's not going to give up. Do you see her having the same momentum that Alexei had that led to his incarceration?
Let's understand that the movement in Russia is not just a one-man show. There are persons within that environment that were with Alexis, and they are going to continue. Somebody will rise up and the wife is going to liaise with others. She may not have the same momentum, but she's going to have a moral backup with others who are also in that range. You see, the unfortunate thing that some despots think is that the elimination of one man can give them peace. It doesn't. It creates a rapid response of some others. You wait for the day of burial, and you will see, if they allow, and you will see what will happen. It will be as what happened in Iran when the lady that was murdered, and the women rose up. It was almost going to overturn the country. You know, sometimes people don't understand that you are pursuing one man doesn't make you safe. Because it's not the man, it's the idea. The idea the man has postulated, the man has created a thought to say this is inhuman where we are, this is what we should be. Let us rise up as a people to give our people hope. You can find that most of the young Russians today are no longer living in Russia. They have gone out because they don't have a future as far as they are concerned in Russia. That's why Wagner was able to try to raise an opposition, even in the military. You know, sometimes because people are silent doesn't mean they like you. They're just waiting for an opportunity to explode, and then you know what is going to happen. So it's like even the Ukraine issue. You know how many people Russians have deflected to Russia, to Ukraine, to help fight against Russia? These are some of these issues. They may not be highlighted because they won't be published. They will not allow that information to go out. But on the ground, there is a work that is going on. And people believe, Putin knew that he can't live forever. He can't live forever. So he's trying as much as possible to see how he can create those around him. He's even suspicious of those around him. That's the evil of despotism. You are not safe. You are not even sure of whether you will survive tomorrow. You know? And so anything that resembles opposition, he's going to try to eliminate them. He has eliminated some military officers within his cabinet. These are some of the issues. But if he gives in to humanity, he could be a better leader. But unfortunately, people are made themselves up in such a manner that it is either they're desperate or they cannot. It's like what my barrister was saying just now. We are looking at America now. People are looking at Donald Trump. From rhetorics, from statements he makes and other things, people are seeing him as a despot. And Americans will react because...
But why to some is a hero?
Yeah, to some. You see, no matter how bad you are, there are people who are going to love you for life.
All right. Now, Alexei, no one could deny that he was embarking more on the West for help. Can one say that the West disappointed him because he died, even in Russia, despite the fact that somewhere along the line, once upon a time before his death, he was hoping heavily for America to do something, to at least ease his pains, or better still, grant him asylum, so to speak, or do one or two abracadabra tech, whatever, to break him out of jail. But he died in jail. Can one say that America disappointed him?
No. America or Europe did not disappoint him. Remember how the German saved his life once.
He came back.
And he came back to Russia. He had destiny to die in the hands of a despot. Prognosi rebelled against the army leadership. He knew he was rebelling against Putin. He went to Belarus. He was supposed to come to Mali in Africa to save his life. He went back to Russia. And what happened to him? When you begin to behave as if a despot who believes he must live in power forever can be changed, you are dining with the devil. Those of us who can still remember the reign of Idi Amin Dada in Uganda would know that Idi Amin asked the central bank, a governor, to produce money, and the man said, look, There is nothing to produce. The Uganda money is shit money. It's, shit money. Open your mouth.
Please, let's watch what correlation right now. So it happened, we know, but we're on air.
So I am only trying to tell you that you don't, when you are dining with a despot, you need to be far away from that despot. Don't be close by. By going back to Russia, he voluntarily submitted himself to what happened. America cannot leave their own territory, dropping special forces to rescue him. No, that would be wrong in international law. And the moment he went back, the Americans and the Europeans knew he was going to be killed. They tried to talk about release this man from prison, release him from prison. And what was the next thing Putin did was to transfer him from Moscow, the prison in Moscow, to the one very close to the Atlantic Ocean.
Region, yes.
Where anybody hardly survives. So anybody saying that, oh, you go to the Atlantic.
According to Putin, is the nature of his crime.
What crime?
Russia.
What? No, excuse me. What crime? What crime? You see, the acts of Putin himself against his own citizens. If you are a journalist, please, you have been seeing how Russia has been fighting Ukraine. Ukraine would have defeated Russia so easily, but Russia is sending in thousands of troops. As they are being killed, another wave of thousands will keep on going. Which normal human being would do that kind of thing?
That is warfare. That is warfare. Anyway, I'll come back to you, Barrister. I'm going to ask you the same question. Was his death of his own making, or the West, having promised heaven and earth, disappointed him? He said no, there wasn't disappointed. After he was rescued, was born a time. He chose to go back. Him going back, was it a smart move or a foolish one?
No, neither of them. Because he understood his terrain very well. As we say, I think it was in Bob Marley also, he who fights and runs away. Lives to fight on there. But I will believe he who fights and runs away has run for his dear life. Yeah? Because why would you run away in the first instance? So, as he chose to come back, and he did, and he would have experienced one or two things. Is not to try to judge him now. If he was still alive, I would have suggested that there would have no need for him to stay back in Russia, knowing the kind of person he is, number one. Number two, why he stayed back could be his followers. You have followers and you run away. Your followers will lose steam, and the level of belief in you will begin to dwindle and all that. He would have considered all this. And because he came back, reason number three, he had his family there. His mother, wife, children. It was that stay back in Russia that is giving the wife now the energy to say, I'm going to continue from where my husband stopped. She also, from the video, she also is calling for people to join her in this struggle. So if you are reversed it, then he was fighting from US. The aspiration would have just gone with him. So the West did not disappoint him. He would have weighed all the options to now decide to say it's better to fight this Putin from within. And he went back. So I want to say he died as a hero.
A hero?
Yeah, he died as a hero. For the cause he believed in. And he died in it.
He said it that as a hero for the cause he believed in. After all, he's been an opportunity to run out of the country. He refused to run. To some person, it's better for you to fight, run, live another day to fight again. That should have been it, but he chose to be a martyr, and sadly, he lost his life. If you take a look at Russia today, there have been this upsurge of protest, but somehow Putin had it under control. And right now there is a war going on between Russia and Ukraine, contributing to protect Russia's territorial integrity. And they are heaping the blame on the West. Even the death of Navalny, they're saying the West is the one responsible indirectly for one, him being incarcerated, and two, even his death. Hence, they're going to retain the body for 2 weeks. Nobody's going to touch the body because they have to carry out their own autopsy. What do you feel about our comments?
You know, like I said earlier, every despot do not see himself as doing wrong. He sees every other person around him being wrong. And let me start from the young man. Unfortunately, you see, every course of life has a price. You have to be convinced of what you are doing. And most of the time, wars cannot be fought from outside. People who want to understand what you are doing, they need to see you on ground because they have to feel the way you feel to be able to identify with you. Two is the fact that no one has even left Russia and survived. They still go after them, poison them or kill them. I was just reading one of the soldiers who flew his helicopter over to Ukraine was just killed in Spain. They haunt you no matter where you are. So it was even more heroic for him to be at home, to galvanize, to give strength to others, to say, look, this is our land. We can rise up from this land and make a change. But the issue is, when you have the military and the armament in your hands, as a despot, you kill anyone. My Archbishop used to tell me, it's only a madman that will see a soldier with a gun and still be talking to him foolishly. You know, that's why you have accidental discharge. But some of these issues, unfortunately, some of the military officers are brainwashed, not because they love the man, but out of the fear of their own life, they try to carry out orders that they don't believe in. And that's why most of the time when you see an uprising come out, people now see opportunity. When the Tiananmen Square in China happened, nobody believed that such a wave could happen because of the kind of despotic life they have. But people woke up and said, let us. Yet some of them died. People must pay sacrifice for what you believe in. And that itself, you will see what will happen to Russia very soon. Like I said, let's see how they will allow the barrier to go. The barrier is not just going to be a silent one. And some of the time it will take a lot of things for things to happen. You know, it's like I keep saying to people, see, when you see police beat up civilians and all, it's not because naturally they would have loved to. But that uniform that they have, that they pay allegiance to those, makes it difficult for them to do what is right. And some of them live to regret it all their life because they have done what is wrong and they pay a price for it. So it is. It's not because the military people in Russia are very happy. You have seen in some of the ways that some of them have done, like I said, some of the high military officers have been killed. It shows to you that there is a disquiet. But they're just looking for opportunities, and some of the time these civilians give even some of the militaries the hope of what needs to be done. But I just pray that, I keep praying that those despots will also have a place in their own destiny of death. Because sometimes, look at their children, find out where they are. They're not living happy life. They may live in a mansion. Like I said, you can see a man living in an air-conditioned car but sweating. It shows to you that his life has a lot of problems.
All right, now let's take a look at a comment from some sections. Some are saying that because of the death of Navalny, Alexei, that Russia would definitely crack. The people will come out to say, no, what you did to our leader, what you did to this man that speaks the truth as an opposition to you, you'd rather kill him. There'll be disquiet in Russia, but we've not heard of that happening. What do you think is responsible? Barrister Ibifume.
If there's going to be any reaction, it's not going to be a spontaneous or a sudden thing. There will be sabotages. There will be a lot of internal reactions. that might be isolated but fatal to the state of Russia. Now, looking at the situation in Russia, it was last year that the owner of Wagner came back to Russia and he died suspiciously in a plane crash.
They said it was a plane crash. That they're investigating what led to that crash.
Oh, very good. They will keep on investigating. They will keep on investigating. Then this one has happened again. If you also look at every despot, they are cowards. Every despot is a coward. He cannot move even within his bodyguards. He's afraid. That is why we have been having reports of Putin having double bodies. Double bodies. There will be some occasions he's supposed to go. Somebody else who has been medically manipulated.
It's double.
Doubled.
They're saying that's a security measure.
Yes, yes. You may call it.
Even almost top president, they have their doubles.
You may call it that.
Yes.
Why is it you are having double? Do I have double?
Good question.
I don't have double because I'm not to fear.
Yes.
The moment you begin to have double of your own personality, imposturizing yourself, it means you are afraid of something.
Obviously.
So Putin definitely is afraid. And I am seeing the situation where his so trusted aides will say, look, we are tired of this. One, the sanctions from the European Union and America is biting hard on Russia, no matter how much they pretend. And when America was asked, why is it that you are not taking any action after promising that if anything harms Alexis, you will do more? They said, yes, we already have a lot of sanctions. But again, if you are imposing sanctions, you have to consider your own interests too. They get uranium from Russia. If you put an imposition or a sanction on Russian uranium, you hit yourself. To your own disadvantage. So they are doing the best they can. The next is to start underground work to create insurrection within the Russian community itself.
So you're saying that America will do underground to cause insurrection?
America and any other country. That means
Putin is right for putting these bills in place to stop the insurrection from this country.
What we are saying...
Because someone said the reason why Putin is doing what he's doing is to make Russia relevant in international politics.
Russia intervened in the election between Clinton and Trump. All countries are involved in all this. All right. So if they are all involved in all this territorial transgressions, Russia should not exempt themselves or expect that they will be exempted.
All right, thank you, sir. That means it all boils down to protecting your territory. Some are saying...
No, protecting yourself.
Not
territory.
Some are saying going to the black side, you get to realize also some of that was the right allegedly caused or kind of about Americans in the name of protecting America. Some also they go to the black side, they're going to kind of attributed like Germany, allegedly, to protect the Germans. If you go to China, the story is not different. Go to China, they do the same. Why would they get to start calling for black if they're all involved in the same thing? Over to you, man.
Yes, you can't be protecting your territorial integrity and be killing your citizens. If Putin was killing non-nationals, we say, okay, you are protecting. So the protection he is doing now is out of fear. You are killing your own brother or your own relatives because you want to protect a particular community.
But sorry to cut in, why is US chasing after the founder of WikiLeaks?
Why won't they?
That answers your question. Please continue.
So, what
All in the name of territorial integrity.
No,
yeah.
They all do this.
We'll help you to.
Yes,
Please help us. So, the ideology behind Putin's actions are self-centered, cowardice, and a major part of insensitivity to the plight of the people. He doesn't care. Let the sky fall. A despot will tell you it won't kill one person. If the sky falls, it's going to kill everybody. So he doesn't care if everybody dies. All die and I die, as they say it in pidgin English. So the point Putin is putting across to people is either you believe in me or you die. So you're not actually protecting Russia's territorial integrity, you are protecting yourself. So anything against his wish or desire is seen as being against the whole of Russia. And that is not good enough for true leadership.
All right. Well, our time is up, gentlemen. We have 30 minutes each.
30 minutes again.
30 seconds, please. This is your point. 30 seconds. I'll start for you, Reverend.
Yes.
What advice do you have for Russians, Putin, and of course, America watching by the sideline?
Two things is let Putin allow Russians to determine how their lives are governed. You cannot enforce yourself on everybody. Let them have a say. That's what leadership is. You'll be able to give them a say. You're talking of each country. You have to protect yourself. The man who was exposing America, we didn't say you shouldn't. But why will you go to outside of America to go and be talking?
Because he was afraid of his life. He said that.
In his country.
That his life is at stake. That's why he ran.
He had to run to his enemy.
The same thing.
The country's enemy, to go and tell the enemy, this is what the America. It's like your child running away from your house and going to tell somebody else, this is how my people, like my father is living in the house.
And people can still liken that to what Alexis did to Russia. He's a Russian.
No, he didn't go
Well,
out.
he's fighting against Russia.
No,
My 30 seconds.
Yes.
My advice to Putin. Africa is not only a place for dark bad things. Learn from Abacha. That's my advice.
From Abacha.
Learn from Abacha's history.
All right, thank you. Honorable, please, 30 seconds.
Yeah, not quite different from what Barrister said. The earlier he learns from Abacha, the better for him.
People say that that's the reason why he's using his double, keeping security, and crossing every form of opposition so they will not get to his own Abacha. It will not happen to him. Well, gentlemen, your points are valid. Going to take out a man because of his belief for fighting for better Russia. That is truly, to so many persons, a huge mistake. But how do you think Russia will come this time? Because Britain, according to report, do have this firm grip around Russia. Who will break Russia free from Putin if they are truly on the bondage? Thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate the wonderful analysis. Let's see how all this will pan out. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Are Russians in bondage? A huge question for you to answer. Bye for now.